Utopia, Chris Ransom, William Yannish here. Joey may be here in a few minutes. Him and William, they just got up very early in the morning. I've been up since 8 a.m. I was up till 3:30, and I would try to pull all-nighter. It's impossible to pull an all-nighter at my mom's house. I'm going back to the apartment on Wednesday when we'll probably record the new Under the Bleachers episode with the guest on. But yeah, and it's probably going to be a night episode, just FYI. But today, I'm going to talk about a variety of topics. Maybe we'll watch some film on some prospects in the NHL draft. But I'm going to start with NBA expansion. The Board of Governors has voted to approve expansion for Seattle and Las Vegas. Supersonics are coming back, and I think Las Vegas will get an expansion team as well. But yeah, more than likely, Seattle will try to bring back the Supersonics. The Thunder might still own the IP. I don't know what the issue is there, so we'll have to wait and see. But both teams have logistical plans in play. I think it's going to be a very quick transition, too, because Vegas does want their own NBA arena, but they can play at the T-Mobile Arena where the Vegas Golden Knights play temporarily. And Seattle's NBA team will play in Climate Pledge Arena where the Kraken, the NHL team that was an expansion team in 2022, where they currently play. So this is not really a surprise, William. These are the two teams that were expected to get expansion bids into the NBA. So that's the big news this week. I'll touch on a variety of topics. Like I said, college basketball, the Elite Eight is set. We're going to have Iowa versus Illinois today. We're also going to have Purdue versus Arizona. And then tomorrow, Michigan plays Tennessee. I was bold enough to pick Tennessee in the Elite Eight as a 6th seed. And then Duke plays Connecticut. I think it's going to be Arizona or Duke. It just depends. Because I picked Arizona over Duke at the start of the tournament. But it's like, I could see Duke winning this thing. I could see Arizona winning it. I could see Michigan winning it. Those are the 3 best teams in the country, though. One of them is going to win it. And yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts on that. I think Illinois, Duke, the 4 teams we'll be talking about next week are probably all going to be the favorites to win these next 2 days. Duke, Michigan, Arizona, Illinois. Those are the 4 that I think will end up in the Final Four at the end of the day.
Yeah, for sure. It's always what
I'm going to try to get some news on each sport, but I'm going to be the most detailed with the NFL news. But yeah, I'm going to try to get a little bit of news on each sport before I jump into the NFL news at the end. But yeah, right now, I'm looking to see who's unbeaten. There are only 2 unbeatens in soccer through 5 weeks. One is LAFC. They beat Miami in the opener, and the other is Nashville, which really doesn't surprise me. Nashville, they've had the talent to put together a championship roster for years, but they just haven't put it together yet. And they had the unfortunate pleasure of playing Miami last year in a 2v7 matchup, and they could not win that. So we'll see if Nashville can keep this momentum up in the MLS. I know Orlando, they fired their coach 3 weeks into the season. They are 1-1 since the new interim head coach got appointed. And wow, Philadelphia Union are 0-5 on the year. They traded 3 years of first-round picks to the Rapids for allocation money. And right now, that pick they traded to Colorado, the 3 years of first-round picks, 2025, 2026, 2027. Right now, that third and final first-round pick they traded to the Rapids is the number 1 pick in next year's draft. So, wow. The Union kept bragging how they had the best academy in the world. Why are you 0-5 then? You traded your best striker and your best defender for $5 million in allocation money? You're keeping your number 1 draft pick at goalie there, but you're not doing anything else to build the team around him. I knew the Union were going to be bad, but I didn't think they'd be 0-5 bad this early in the season. I mean, shit.
that's like the Jets doing
Yeah.
Jets things or the
Yep.
Browns doing Browns things, you know?
Yep.
I mean, it happens every year.
But in the Browns' defense, they didn't give up the number 1 pick in the draft away to get Deshaun Watson. Yeah, they botched that situation. I agree, William, but they didn't botch it to that extreme to where they traded the first overall pick away.
Well, they might as well be starting him because, I mean, he is their best quarterback. I mean, that's not saying much.
Yeah, some Shedeur fans would disagree, but yeah.
Yeah, Shedur's got some fans, though. Let me tell you, though, man.
Fans, whatever you want to call them.
Shedur's got some casual fans behind him, maybe. I don't know,
Yep.
but not to knock on them too much, but I got to give them hell.
Yep.
Wow.
We do have a few unbeatens in MLB: Yankees, Blue Jays, Orioles, Red Sox, Detroit Tigers, and the LA Angels, all 2-0. Baseball's a 162 game season, so the entire NL East is 1-0. The Brewers and Cardinals are 1-0. I didn't expect those two to be 1-0, and the Dodgers are 2-0. I did expect the Dodgers to be 2-0, but yeah, that's your baseball update. I mean, I saw Paul Skeens against the Mets. He went from winning the Cy Young to having an ERA of 67 in his debut, got pulled in the bottom of the first inning. I saw that because they were airing that game on Peacock. They were hoping that would be the signature game of the day. And there was a lot of runs in that game, 18 combined between both teams. But yeah, I'll quickly take a look here. So the Pistons have clinched a playoff spot. And then PS, I don't know what that means for the NBA standings. PS has clinched postseason. X has clinched playoff berth. So 7 teams have clinched a spot at least in the play-in round. Celtics, Knicks, Cavs, Raptors, Hawks, Sixers. So basically the Bucks, the Heat, the Magic, the Hornets, and the 76ers are fighting for Hornets, Magic, Heat, and Bucks are fighting for the final 3 spots in the play-in round. Bulls, Wizards, Nets, and Pacers are out. The entire West has already been decided. Thunder, Spurs, Lakers, Nuggets, Timberwolves, Rockets, Suns, Clippers, Trailblazers, or Warriors are going to be in. And then we don't know who's playing who yet, but we know the 10 teams in the Western Conference. And you know the NBA is not competitive when it's already still March and we already know who the 10 teams in the West are going to be. That's a very clear indicator the sport's not competitive this year. If it's April and we already know the playoff field for an entire conference, we don't know the seeding yet, William, but we know the playoff field. If it's March and we already know the entire playoff field, just not the seedings, that's a sign that your conference is not very competitive.
Yeah.
Because we should not know this until like April. But we do. Yeah. Pelicans, Grizzlies, Mavericks, Jazz, Kings try again next year. You guys are out. I believe there's only 2 teams that have been eliminated from the NHL playoff picture. Yep. The Vancouver Canucks and the New York Rangers. And everyone else still has 10, 11, 9 games left in the regular season, and only 2 teams are eliminated. Now, that's competition. So, and there's only 2 teams that have locked up playoff spots. The Colorado Avalanche, who've had the best regular season record all year, and the Dallas Stars, the team Ron, Joey, and myself picked to win the Cup. So that's not really a surprise, those 2 teams having their spots locked up. Vancouver, the Rangers, better luck next year. You'll have a shot to win the NHL draft lottery on Cinco de Mayo. So the NHL draft lottery drawing is going to be on May 5th, which is Cinco de Mayo. So that is, so we're going to have a very quick transition from our NFL draft content to the NHL content. But yeah, until Joey gets here, I'm going to try to log into Huddle for Instat Hockey and pull up some film for the NHL draft. Then we'll talk football once Joey gets here. But yeah, I've been wanting to do this for a while. I've been wanting to screen share some game film for the NHL draft for a while. I just haven't gotten around to it, or I've forgotten. So I'm going to try to do that now before Joey gets here. And if there's any players William wants to watch, we'll pull up their tape. I'll go through a list of names. I'm guessing you'd want to watch McKenna since we've talked about him. But yeah, it's like I'm looking at the names. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see. Because I do think Stenberg could go first if Vancouver gets that top pick, but a lot of mocks have McKenna back in that number 1 slot. So we'll see what happens. It's just
Yeah.
we'll see. I'm trying to load Huddle. If it doesn't load, I guess, and we'll just talk football once Joey gets here. But this is I kind of would. Okay, here we go. Okay, perfect. All right, we're logged in. I think I'll screen share this because we can always get to the simulator or whatever when Joey gets here. I might do auto because I think that's how I'm going to end the show. We're going to watch some hockey film, and then after that, I think what we'll do after that is after we watch some hockey film, I think what we'll do is we'll auto draft for the first 3 rounds on the draft simulator and react accordingly to how auto draft has drafted.
Oh, that would
Joey
work.
gets here because I think I don't have any NFL news this week. There's just a bunch of rumors. It just feels like a bunch of stuff leading up to the draft. So I'm gonna pull up, and there's different players. There's Ivor Stenberg, Keaton Verahoff, Caleb Malhorta, Chase Reed. There's a bunch of different players in this draft. But I'm gonna pull up McKenna's tape here, and this is the best part of this. This is one of my perks over at the other company I work with, Draft Prospect Hockey. This is one of the perks we have. We can do shooting from the blue line, shot blocking, shootouts, 3-on-3 power play. Can look at game film. That's not the tape.
Oh no.
Oh, look what is going on here. Usually they have the Oh, here we go. Here's the tape. Games. So you got full game, you've got ice time, goals and assists, all player shifts. Player shifts is basically like a full film breakdown. Ice time's basically the entire ice, but all player shifts and goals or assists are usually the 2 I do, William. So why don't you pick a game here from this list? I bet you wish there was something like this for the NFL draft where you just had a database of all the tape stored and you could just pick your favorite game and watch that game.
Man, that would be so nice.
It would, yeah.
That's what we should do with.
Okay.
Let's see.
What Penn State game you want me to load?
Well, let's see.
And if you just want goals and assists to go through I can do all player shifts, or I can do just goals and assists if you just rather watch the highlights and get through more players versus actually it's up to you.
Nah, let's because I've never really watched any hockey film before, so this has got my attention now.
Yeah.
Just go through everything. Just pull up a game. It doesn't matter which game.
Okay, let's go ahead and pull up. Let's pull up this. We're gonna watch my Buckeyes get blown out. It's 11-4. Penn State 11-4. I'm not happy about this, but hey, I don't have the volume turned on, and I'm going to keep it that way to avoid a copyright strike. But I am going to full screen it. I am going to full screen everything. And Gavin McKenna, I believe, should I zoom out and get his jersey number really quickly? Let's do that. Yeah. because I don't want to zoom out, but I want to get the actual jersey. I know the jersey number. I just damn it. Okay, I'll look up the jersey number really quickly for McKenna. I'm gonna have to memorize this because if we build a draft, it's 72. Okay, so 72 is McKenna. All right, there we go. I'm pointing the mouse at the actual screen here. If there's any audio issues, I will zoom out and address that accordingly. But yeah, I'm looking for, I think that's him right there in the middle of the ice, 72. But yeah, so far, nothing really amazing through 2 shifts. Okay, here he's actually, his stride looks good. He's defending well. Okay, so there. Yeah, and he does a good job anticipating where the puck's going to go, taking away a lane for the shooter. That's nice. I think I'm going to email Huddle after the show and see if they have a database like on Instat Hockey for football players.
Yeah.
We're trying, YouTube. We are trying to mute this, okay? We really are making an effort to mute this because I feel like if we play the audio, we are going to get hit with a strike. And it's like we're trying. We are making a conscious effort to mute it whenever a 72. Okay, so he's right near the net, near the slot. Nobody's getting him the puck, though. It feels like he's open, but his shooting lanes aren't open. He's open, but his lane.
Yeah, I'm not seeing any on the screen sharing, man.
It says share. Wait, share this tab instead. Okay.
There we go.
There we go.
Now we're cooking with gas.
Okay, good. Yeah, but after each clip, it zooms out. So then I have to click on share this tab instead when it zooms in.
In front of the net, so I'm thinking, I don't even think anyone.
But yeah, it's like McKenna. Okay, so he got that pass off, which is good because he was being double teamed on that. Took away the lanes. And here he's lined up as a defender. Is this a power play? Nope. Just regular. That was a great job. I thought McKenna had an assist there for a second, but nope. Great. But he saw the opening. He attacked it. I'll give him credit for that. He saw the opening. He attacked it. Good job by Ohio State. So
for Penn State, it's a couple.
How the hell did Penn State get 11 goals in this game? 9 minutes of a nothing burger right now. First 9 minutes have been a nothing burger. I'm not saying Ohio State. Okay, there's an assist. That was an assist. So McKenna did a great job setting up the assist on that first goal. And yeah, there's a lot of guys doubling in on him every time he's going to shoot the puck. And when they double in on him, he pivots from creating scoring chances to getting an assist. So that's one thing he does really well. He talked about the 20-year-olds wanting to win the WHL championship last year when he played his interview. Just the humility he had. I basically said if Caleb Williams had the humility McKenna had at age 18, man, what a player he'd be.
Yeah.
Then another assist for McKenna. So, yeah, I could see why he's now at number 1 again. But it's been a carousel between Stenberg, Verhoff, McKenna. I just think it's going to come down to who gets number 1. I would take McKenna at 1 personally, but like I said, I think it's going to come down to who gets number 1. If Vancouver gets number 1, it could be Stenberg. If a team that needs a defender gets number 1, it could be Keaton Verhoff. So
he was the one that just got out of trouble too, wasn't he?
Yeah. He got out of the legal trouble after someone said something about his mom.
Yeah. Well, that was hella good that he got that taken
The
care of
charges
because
got dropped, so
yeah,
no longer an issue.
yeah, drunks in a bar trying to get money from mouthing off to an athlete, and about his mom is one thing.
Loves the stick-to-itiveness.
Pressing charges on him is a whole other thing.
Yep. I don't understand why Penn State is wearing tan pants. They've always worn blue and white. I'm not critiquing the tan pants. It's just I don't understand. You're Penn State. You're not Notre Dame. I expect this from Notre Dame. Okay, it's like, come on, Penn State.
Gotta love his
Penn State. I expect this kind of behavior from Notre Dame. Notre Dame's jerseys are actually, I think they're all blue, which is crazy, or all green, which is nuts. Because the tan pants, this is the type of behavior I expect from Notre Dame, not Penn State.
Yeah.
I'm not critiquing it. I just don't understand why this is the case. Like, if Pitt had an ice hockey team, I could get behind this. It's just, I don't get it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think we're going to watch all this game because Penn State won this game 11-4. So basically, once Penn State scores 5 goals, we'll try to react to what we saw from McKenna, and then we'll move on to another player if Joey doesn't show up until he shows up. But yeah, it's like that's kind of what I'm thinking here.
McKenna definitely has bonus points on sticking up for his mom, though, for me.
He does.
So,
and I like the way he fights for the puck. I love his attitude. Love how unselfish he is. So, yeah.
They flip the script. That's usually.
So we watched one period of this. So Penn State only got 2 of their 11 goals in the first period. And Ohio State outshot them in the first period, 18-10. So what changes over these next 2 periods? There, yeah, you can see 72. He's in the bottom right corner. Yeah, I felt like McKenna's skating was kind of choppy there. He could have gave a better effort, but I didn't think he was horrible either on that last play. Yeah, he gave a better effort on that play. I just think teammates aren't doing a great job at getting him the puck.
Really good of late.
Oh, yeah, McKenna. Okay, so because everyone's expecting McKenna to shoot, so he's basically being forced to pass. Because whenever he gets the puck, the teammates are taking up all the zones. Ohio State, and that's one thing they've done well in this so far through 23 minutes is they've neutralized McKenna's shooting ability. There's zero doubt that the Ruck Twins would have 100 points if they had McKenna on their team, and I think McKenna just scored there. I wish we could go back and rewind that. McKenna did get a goal. He got a goal. He got 2 assists, I think, and then Penn State scored without him. So we'll see what happens here. If Penn State gets a 5th goal, we'll go to somebody else because I know Ohio State only got 4 goals in this game. And I think we've seen enough from McKenna. The traits are there. There's a reason this guy was hyped up as the #1 pick dating back to age 14 when he was the first pick in the 22 WHL draft for the Medicine Hat Tigers. So, everything's coming full circle. And yeah, there McKenna fumbled the puck. Okay. But not his best moment. But I've seen more good than bad from this game. Has he been perfect in this game? No, but I've seen way more good than bad just by what we've seen so far, William. the goods
Mhm.
outweighed the bad in spades.
For sure.
Missy, are you tired of watching Gavin McKenna? Would you rather watch another prospect? Is that why you're barking, Missy?
Both of these guys have save percentage.
All right, so, but yeah, it's like putting all these together into one shift. That's got to be a lot of work for whoever's running this app. And yeah, I'll email Huddle after the show today because I, if they've got something like this for the NFL draft, I totally want in. Like, it's not a matter of can we get in. I totally want in. I want a media pass similar to what Draft Prospect Hockey has for football stuff with Draft Utopia. So I'm going to look into that. I'm going to figure out how we can get that. And there was the 5th goal by McKenna.
Under duress. Pushed in by Penn State. McGinley back to collect.
All right, so there we go. That's Gavin McKenna. All right. How do we get out of this? Oh, there's a search bar. Perfect. Perfect. There's a search bar. So we can just type in the player we want on the search bar and it'll lead us to that player's shifts. No, I don't want to restart this game. All right. Yeah, Frölunda Iverstenberg, Sweden. This guy's from Sweden. Number 41 on Sweden. Number 41 for Frölunda. Let's watch this 7-0 game. But first, I'm going to screen share this because, you know, there's a lot of I'm just making sure we have everything. Okay, perfect. This is a 7-0 shutout for Frölunda against Luleå. These are both really popular teams in Sweden. 41 is, I believe, 41 is Stenberg. Yep, I saw the Stenberg on the back of the jersey. So really like the skating, the decision making, super efficient. Yeah, I know he's not playing on the top line like McKenna, but there were people mocking Stenberg at one, saying he's more NHL ready. So I've got to see what that's about.
Yeah.
Because if you're telling us he's more NHL ready than McKenna, I've got to see the proof. And he's doing a good job fighting for the puck, crashing the net, trying to get as close to the net like an actual power forward in hockey. Because that's what power forwards do in both hockey and basketball. They attack the low post of the net. So yeah. I'm trying to keep I'm trying to point my mouse at the player. So there we go. There's Stenberg right there. And then he gets out of the camera for a second. But yeah. And Stenberg, yeah, he's getting double teamed on some of these passes. So not only are they taking away his shooting lanes, they're taking away his passing lanes too, because he's more of a playmaker than a playmaker and a sniper. So they're taking away his passing lanes. I do like what I've seen from Stenberg, but I haven't seen enough to where I can get on board with the assessment that he's more NHL ready than Gavin McKenna. But I do like what I've seen. We've only seen like 2 shifts. So, yeah, no shots on goal through the first 8 minutes. So, yeah. I got to see him do something in this 7-0 blowout before I can really get on board. I do like the checking there, him checking the defender, playing physical, trying to get that separation, fight for the puck. There's a lot I like there. I do like the compete level. And there, okay, wow, it looked like he was power bombing the guy for a second at the end of that clip. So Frölunda did score, but it wasn't due to Stenberg. Okay. All right. Great job getting the rebound, but yeah, the defense has just been super fast. Lulela's done a good job limiting the shots by Frölunda. They used to be the Frölunda Indians. Now they're Frölunda HC, the hockey club, but I can't find any Frölunda HC logos, so I just go by the Frölunda Indians. I'd change the logo if I could find one on one of these draft sites, but they no longer keep track of who's updated logos, all this stuff for Swedish hockey teams, so have to deal with the Frölunda Indians logo. It'd be like, what if sports logos or wherever we get our logos from decided, oh, we're not going to change the Frölunda Indians logo. We're going to leave the Redskins logo as it is. If that was the case, we'd probably still have we do technically still have the Redskins logo up. We just type in the Commanders logo. We have that up.
I wonder whatever happened with that senator from Wyoming that was going to hold up them getting a new place or something until they did something with the logo, because you know the Redskin logo is what Chief whatever, you know, the same guy that's on the nickel on the Buffalo Nickels,
you
know, and yeah, that's definitely something, you know. I mean, obviously they're not going to do anything with the name, but you know, bringing something back with the logo would be, you know, amazing. Instead of having, you know, Columbus take out the natives twice, you know, going from the Redskins to the Commanders, you know, taking them out the second time. That's kind of a little bit ironic, you know. But
you know, you could change your team to the Washington Fighters, and you could have the Redskins logo in like a fighter jet, like he's inside the fighter jet.
Right, that'd be kind of nifty.
They're not going to do that though. I wish they would do something where they could bring the Redskin logo back. Even if you kept the name Commanders, if you brought that logo back, most fans would be happy. So Frölunda's gotten 3 goals and so far Stenberg has not been a part of any of those goals. And it says he has a goal and assist in this game, but I'm guessing those take place later in the game. And then we'll watch a defender and we'll watch a goalie, and then we'll probably call it a day. Unless maybe then we'll do the auto draft. Or center. We could watch a center, I guess, too. You're a good dog, me.
Oh yeah, I've been putting together a show for one of the coming weeks for Under the Bleachers with for some fantasy football.
Awesome.
With Mike Rosario. He's going to be a guest. You know, he's been on our show a couple different times with the fantasy thing. So Just talking to him last night. So
That sounds good.
Just so everyone out there knows what's going on, we're going to have a fantasy special, since everything's starting to wind up again with that. And
Yep. I mean, we're halfway through this game. I have not seen that big play from Stenberg yet. It probably will happen soon, but it's like, and people are saying he's more NHL ready than McKenna. The tape doesn't show me that from what I've seen here. Now, the highlights might show that. The prospect shifts game film might show that. But the tape here, which is way more detailed, even though it's broken down into clips, hasn't shown me that yet. So he might need another year in Sweden to develop, because that's what happened with Frondell. He went third to the Blackhawks. He went back to Sweden this year, and then now they brought him up to the team now that his season's over. So that might be what I'm guessing that's what's going to end up happening with Stenberg. 4 goals in this game. So they win this game 7-0, but I want to see at least 1 goal or assist. I probably should have picked a different game. And, with wingers, you can watch just the goals and assists versus the line shifts to speed things up. But I actually want to get a feel for what I'm getting with the player versus crap. Okay, so yeah, there's Stenberg right there. They are lining him up at both left wing and right wing. I'll give Frölunda some credit. They're actually lining him up at both winger spots to showcase his versatility, because that's what Medicine Hat did with McKenna last year, except they played him at center, left wing, and right wing, all 3 forward spots. So I'll give Frölunda some credit for utilizing him, but I also feel like outside of passing and skating, he's really been non-existent in this game, William. But maybe I'm wrong on that.
Yeah, could have just been a bad day.
Yeah. I mean, his production's been pretty good for Frölunda. I'll pull up the right now, Ivar Stenberg has 11 goals, 22 assists, 33 points in 43 games with Frölunda. We just haven't seen anything from him in this game, and it was a 7-0 win. And that said goals and assists under the tape, so he obviously did something in this game. But I'm guessing it was in the third period versus the first 2. Yeah, because the defender, we'll watch Verhoff, Malhorda, and then we'll watch a goalie. I'm not going to watch every player in the draft, but I'll watch the top 3 or 4 guys, and we'll watch the number 1 goalie, so we get a basic idea of who the top guys are at each position. But I'm probably not going to do any more than that. And if Joey shows up, I'll pivot to football news whenever he decides to show up. But he's still charging his phone, so. That's nice. Getting a phone text about RFK's water updates, RFK Jr.'s water updates. I really don't care about that right now. I'll read it after the show. Look, I'm not going to comment on politics here. That's not going to happen. So.
I definitely pulled up a few logos here from Frölunda, the Indians.
Yeah, the Frölunda Indians, that's the default logo we have on Draft Utopia. They're Frölunda HC, but I can't find a Frölunda HC logo, and I'm just going to keep the Frölunda Indians logo. I really don't care at this point. We already have a web page.
Well, dude, the whole, gist of that, everyone I've talked to, I live out here in Colorado and with a bunch of natives, I mean, that's one of the big things around here. And these teams like Northern Utah and then just they love the fact that of these Redskins logos and these Chiefs, they're proud of the fact. And it's just so many of the ones that are trying to
I'm going to pause the tape. I think Joey's here. I think Joey's here.
condescending kind of deal.
Are you kidding me? The
you
tape.
know?
So wait, we have not. Hold on a second. The tape that I've played. So wait, the tape that I played, you guys didn't see any of the tape. So yeah, Villikin. So these are the Iver Stenberg. This is the guy projected to go second in the NHL draft. And there we go. This is 20 Stenberg. So, and then this is the final play. I don't see Stenberg in this game. Stenberg's supposed to be a 41. I didn't see any goals or assists from him, but yeah. Joey's here. Okay, so I'll pick a different game because I want the definitive goals and assists here.
Oh, I found this new logo for Frölunda, and I'm calling BS.
So you're saying we should
Stick
just
with the
keep the
Indians.
regular look? We should just keep the Frölunda Indians logo, even though it's kind of outdated.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I figured. So that is a Frölunda breakaway. That's a nice breakaway. Okay.
I'm sending this to you so you'll see it.
I don't even know if it's sharing that. I want to make sure. All right. Okay. So Joey's here, William's here, I'm here. We're all here in the background. Yeah. So this was the breakaway I saw. This was nice, though. Or was it the next play? I don't remember. Maybe it was this play. I think it's this one. So here he is alone with the goalie, stick deep, gets it in the net. But yeah, this is one of the features I have with the other company I work with, Joey. I can look up tape for players in the NHL draft and then watch the tape. So we've watched Stenberg, we've watched McKenna. We think McKenna's better just based on what we've seen. We are going to talk some football, though. What are you hearing as far as news? Because we can always watch this any other time. As we get closer to the NHL draft, Cinco de Mayo, we probably are going to.
Not much news right now. It's been a slow week.
Yeah, I figured as much. So
the biggest news this week has been, are the Jets going to take Love, and are the Cardinals going to take Love? And the Browns are going between Tate and an offensive tackle, which stuff we already pretty much knew and don't really care about anymore.
I don't think that's the right call personally. I've got I think Julian Love's in my top 5. Caleb Downs is in my top 5. I think Ruben Bain, David Bailey, and Mendoza is going to go first. I would take one of those edge rushers or Downs at 6, but I don't think that's what the Browns are going to do. That's what I think they should do, but I don't think they're going to end up doing that. If those 5 were all gone, I'd probably take Jacob Rodriguez, but we'll do an auto draft of the simulator and react to it. We can always watch the other players besides Verhoff, but yeah, definitely, William, you'd go McKenna over Stenberg as well based off what you've seen, right? Then we'll get into all right. Okay.
Yes,
all
sir.
right. So,
and like I said, he gets those points for socking the dude that talking shit about his mother. So
exactly. That's great to see.
Yep. It shows he's that kind of guy, that.
All right. To end the show, what we're going to do is we're going to have auto draft go through the first 3 rounds of the simulator and react accordingly. Like, these are going to be live hot take reactions as they happen. And we're going to basically go through the first 3 rounds and react accordingly. So, basically, I want to make sure. All right. Okay. Make selection for all 32 teams. And no surprises here. Mendoza goes first to the Raiders. 0 surprises there. Basically, I'm going to auto pick, and we're going to react as the picks come in. Ruben Bain Jr., this would be the smart thing for the Jets to do. I'd say my confidence in the Jets doing the smart thing is a 5 out of 10 right now. Because Aaron Glenn looked impressed with Bain at Miami's Pro Day, but my confidence in them doing the smart thing is a meager 5 out of 10 right now. And the simulator's based on who I think has the most upside and mainly what I would do. Because I don't have a blue chip grade on Carnell Tate. I don't have a blue chip grade on Monroe Freeling. I like Fano. I like Caleb Tiernan. Bailey goes third. So this is a lot of this is based off what I do versus what's probably going to happen on draft day. Downs the Titans at 4. The Giants get Jeremiah Love. Auto draft.
Jeremiah Love and Cam Scatterbo. That's a whole.
Jacob Rodriguez would be the perfect
lightning,
replacement for Koromoa. I don't think the Browns are going to make this pick in real life. That's not what the intel suggested. That's not what Joey's suggesting. That's not what the intel's suggesting. But this would be an awesome pick, I think. This is probably, if you can't get one of those top 5 players, this is the best player, I think, for the Browns to take at 6. But, again, I don't think it's going to happen in real life. Commanders get Jordan Tyson to pair with Debo and McLaurin. Mekhi Lemon's a Saint. Good number 2 option. Maui Go is the Chiefs' right tackle next to Simmons. Bengals get Hill. There's not really a lot of surprises. Dolphins get Peter Woods as a nose tackle and keep Kenneth Grant at 34 left end. Thieneman's a Cowboy, even though they brought back Malik Hooker. Delane's a Ram. The Ravens get TJ Parker. Buccaneers get Pons. He's a nickel corner here. And then the Jets get Carnell Tate at 16. There's a lot of people that don't think Tate's going to be there at 16, but I've got 15 players with blue chip grades. Tate is the first player I don't have a blue chip grade on.
Yeah.
So Lions would be a good pick because he could learn under Laporte as the number 2 tight end this year and then take over as the number 1 tight end in a rookie deal starting next season. So Sadiq to the Lions would actually be a really good fit.
I've seen Sadiq's draft stock on these things. It goes from first round to third round. I think he goes closer to the first, but
yeah,
he's all over the place right now.
He is.
Yeah, he's got a ton of work to do.
But going to a situation where he can start out as the tight end 2 and be the tight end 1 next season, I think is the best situation for him going forward.
Oh, for sure. And, he's going to get on the field early and often, because he actually has some pretty damn good blocking skills.
Yep.
And, he is a little bit smaller. He's just barely over 6'3", 240, 245, which, he plays a lot bigger than that. But, Sadiq is going to be interesting. And I'm actually starting to question if, the Niners are going to maybe try to make a move for him to replace Kittle in time, because, obviously Kittle in whatever that was, 2017 or the year he was drafted.
Yeah, 2017 out of Iowa, 5th
Yeah.
round pick.
Yeah, and he never had much for receiving stats, at school, but he was the best blocker, one of the best blockers in that draft period.
Yeah, I felt like he had enough talent to develop into a starter coming out of Iowa. I didn't feel like he was going to be this Pro Bowl tight end, this top 2 tight end in the league. I felt the same way about Kelsey, but I wasn't as high on Travis Kelsey as I was on Kittle coming out of college.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that missed on the Kelsey evaluation, not just me, but yeah. Vikings took Arvell Reese. Probably won't be there at 18 in real life, but this is where he should go, in my honest opinion. Logan Jones would be a good pick for the Panthers at center. Austin Corbett's gone. Austin Corbett and Lloyd Cushenberry both signed with the Bills this weekend. So Joey said there was no NFL news. I count that as NFL news.
No, I said there was no noteworthy NFL news.
Well, Lloyd Cushenberry is a better center than Luke Whippler. So I would say that no NFL news, him signing a one-year deal with the Bills.
He's better than a 3-year backup? Man, that's high praise.
I mean, he was on the Broncos for his rookie deal, didn't start until his third or fourth year in the league. Because Cushenberry really didn't start until his final year of his rookie deal. Then he went to the Titans, and now he's on the Bills as a replacement to Connor McGovern. Or is Connor McGovern back? Let me look at the Bills depth chart briefly here. Let me look briefly at the Bills depth chart, because I think McGovern might be back. Let me look. McGovern is back. So
I think I heard that. Yeah.
Yeah. So they did lose David Edwards, but right now it looks like Alec Anderson and Austin Corbett are going to be competing for the left guard job. And Lloyd Cushenberry is listed at third string behind Cedric Van Pran. Honestly, they should just move McGovern to left guard and start either Corbett, Cushenberry, or Van Pran. That's the smartest thing the Bills can do, because I just don't think starting Alec Anderson at left guard is a good idea after losing David Edwards. But maybe the Bills want to draft a left guard in round 1. We'll see. Cowboys get Surratt. I do like that. Christian Miller to the Steelers as a nose tackle would replace Keanu Benton. Brian Parker, if he went to the Chargers, he would probably move to left guard and replace Zion Johnson. Eli Stowers is an Eagle. And look, the Eagles did extend Goddard, but they only gave him a 1-year deal. That tells me they're drafting a tight end, because remember, when the Eagles won Super Bowl 52, they drafted Goddard. With Zach Ertz having 1 year left on his deal, they drafted Goddard knowing they were going to replace Ertz with Goddard. And they cut Alshon Jeffrey the next year. They had a crappy offensive coordinator replace Frank Reich after Super Bowl 52. And then the same thing happens after they win Super Bowl 59. Crappy offensive coordinator. Howie Roseman basically trying to make teams overpay for backups, and it backfires tremendously. And it feels like the Eagles are getting complacent, because after the Eagles lost Nick Foles, the Eagles got complacent for a year, and then they drafted Jalen Hurts and just rebooted. So there was that 1 to 2 year period of complacency, and then they draft Jalen Hurts and reboot the franchise. That's kind of where we're at with the Eagles now, if the cycle's repeating itself. And I don't know if the cycle's repeating itself, because I feel like the Eagles have accomplished too much over the past 5 years to say they're a complacent team. They were in Super Bowl 57. They won Super Bowl 59. I feel like they've accomplished a lot with this core, enough to where you can't really say they're complacent yet. But it does feel like the cycle's repeating itself, William.
Yeah. And, well, I mean, they've obviously been having some players drop to them in some of these drafts, like Jalen Carter and certain other things.
Yeah.
And it's definitely interesting, because they've definitely underachieved with what they have supposedly, have drafted. But so it is going to be interesting. They have a good core on that team,
Spencer Fano's a Brown here. They got Jacob Rodriguez at 6, so they get Fano at 24.
I love this pick, but I do not expect Fano to be there at the time. I think Fano and Lamu are both going to be gone by 20. But I love the pick. If it happens, I will be thrilled. But I don't think so. and you guys know I love the versatility of both Utah offensive linemen. They both played right tackle. They both played left tackle. They've competed with each other. They brought the best out in each other. I mean, it's good to have teammates like that just push you to the point that if you get complacent, you're not going to be in the lineup at all. Yeah. So it's good for a situation, and I think that's going to help both of those guys going into the NFL.
For sure. You know, I've seen a few different places, you know, with Lomu and Fanu on different sides of, you know, and it's one of the situations to where my Niners are tied to are those two. I would love to see one of them get drafted to the Niners, you know, I believe that it's going to be the player, or the most value will be the players that go high. It isn't that Shanahan always drafts for need. It's the point that Shanahan does, you know, has a certain amount of players to draft, you know, who has the most value of that position. And then, you know, say the second and third round drafts, then you'll get into, you know, the other positions with less value. And, you know, I mean, we've obviously been looking at, you know, offensive linemen, defensive linemen, cornerbacks has been the majority of who we've been visiting with, you know, and it's going to be, you know, just depending on what happens there, you know. Like I said, I believe the first round, it'll be interchangeable, you know, with the second, third round. They just want to get the player with the most value that lines up there, you know. So.
Well, here's an interesting development. Early talks are underway for we could be seeing Danny DeVito as Wario and Glenn Howerton, who plays Dennis Reynolds as on It's Always Sunny Philadelphia, as Waluigi in one of the future Mario Brothers movies. Someone suggested it on X. It's a great suggestion because Charlie Day, who is also on Sunny in Philadelphia, is Luigi. Chris Pratt is Mario. So whoever suggested that's a great suggestion. And Kalen Olsen is Birdo. They're gonna have Donald Glover play Yoshi. I think he's gonna kill it as Yoshi. I have not seen that much effort into such a role.
Chris Pratt
on Community.
Chris Pratt is not fat enough to play Mario. I'm sorry.
Well, that's what they got, you know, like food and AI for, you know. I mean,
Jack Black was Bowser in the first one. I think that sort of that energy that Jack Black brought, it sort of canceled out the Pratt's not fat enough to play Mario.
Look, guys, it's fun. I think we got to look at it like live action reenactments of Mario movies never work. I mean, the original Mario movie, the most memorable thing that came from that was the song "It's Almost Unreal" by Roxette, which was a hit. Well, the movie floundered because the movie is so bad. The song was actually more popular than the movie.
That's why the movies with video games are animated versus live action, because live action is just a disaster compared to. That's why the video game movies are animated versus live action, because they get more money. Keldrick Falk is a Bear here. Sonny Styles is a Bill. He replaces Milano. Probably won't be there at 26, but that's where I have him on my personal board. Auto draft, auto pick. The Niners get Caleb Tiernan. I love Caleb Tiernan, Northwestern left tackle. 7 for 7 against Mateo Ugalele. Can play both tackle roles.
Yes, sir. I have absolutely, like I said, no problem with that pick right there.
That is a great pick. And then auto draft, Texans get CJ Allen, middle linebacker. The Chiefs get Jermod McCoy to replace Trent McDuffie. The Broncos get Emmanuel McNeil-Warren.
Well, that was the one thing, too. The Niners just signed another tackle. Or guard. No, guard.
Yeah.
And that's been real interesting with Shanahan
Derek Moore. And then
and how they've
Seattle.
evolved in
Seattle would
handling
probably
this year.
move Jennings Dunker to guard because they re-signed both Cross and Abraham Lucas at left and right tackle. So Dunker would probably move inside to guard if Seattle drafted him.
Yep.
And then the Jets, they get Pavia here. Pavia is my QB too. So I auto draft is going to give each team the best player on the board. We're going to react accordingly. There's a lot of people that are overhyping Ty Simpson right now, but
Very much so.
I still think Pavia and I think Aguilar have better tape. Keegan Trost is being stepped on.
Overhyping? I think you're being kind to those media people if they're just using overhyping. I mean, these guys seem to be in line on a dating site at this point.
Yeah, Orlovsky's praising Simpson even though he got blown out by Mendoza because they have the same agent as Matthew Stafford.
Orlovsky is one of those guys that does whatever ESPN, wherever the money is coming from.
Yes.
And Ty Simpson is absolutely, can he pick it all over again? I don't know where he's going to end up going, but, it was obviously that when ESPN spoke, at the combine, they pretty much announced that Ty Simpson was going to be quarterback number 2. And of course he is, and it's just, but there's so many other quarterbacks that are so much better in this draft between, Garrett Nussmeier, Baron Morton, there's.
You can get those guys in round 5 this year, maybe earlier.
Yeah. And it's like, dude,
sorry, I zoned out there, but I just wanted to say, it really sucks because I used to really love Dan Orlovsky because he used to be very opinionated. He used to break things down. He used to go on the tape. He used to do all the right things, and he was really good.
Yeah, he was really good. Just so. It's getting to the point where someone's going to make a rise and fall of Dan Orlovsky video on his analysis on everything he does for ESPN. We're getting to that point. And people are now just using a Dan Orlovsky meme to illustrate how clueless a certain talking point is on X.
Yeah. And then look at what Mel Kiper's done the last few years. That guy is he's doing the exact same thing. Whatever they're telling him to, wherever the most money is, that's who the guy is saying. And now he's saying, oh, Mendoza is by far the best player in this draft, period. And it's like, wow, dude. It's like you're gonna destroy this kid before he ever gets a chance in this league to do anything.
Yeah, we've gone from the JJ McCarthy meme to the Dan Orlovsky meme in 6 months. I think that tells you everything you need to know about it.
I mean, yeah.
So Avian Terrell, the Raiders get Chris Johnson and stick with their current core of weapons, neglect the offensive line. The Giants get Denzel Boston after getting Jeremiah Love. They get some weapons. Texans go with a left guard. Olia Vega. The Browns get Coogan to replace. I don't hate this pick. I don't think the Browns are going to make this pick in real life, but I don't hate this pick either. Pat Coogan to Cleveland. I
think that's another overreaction of Indiana. Winning the championship.
But he was the Rose Bowl MVP. Pat Coogan. He was the Rose Bowl MVP.
Well, yeah.
I think we've got 4 Hoosiers off the board already. Surratt, we've got in the first round. We've got Pons, and then we've got Mendoza. The Chiefs, they get my running back too, Jonah Coleman. He will be a change of pace back to Kenneth Walker. He'll start out as the backup, work his way up in a Charbonnet-type role. Emmett Johnson ends up replacing Chase Brown in Cincinnati. The Bengals, they get Trey Zune III. They could slide him inside to left guard. They do have a hole at left guard. So did they address that in free agency? If they didn't, but yeah, the Ravens are going to get, the Dolphins are going to get Jake Slaughter at 43. The Dolphins are going to get their center of the future. So the Ravens miss out on all of the top centers. The Jets get Caden Proctor with the Cowboys pick. Proctor would probably move inside to guard in this scenario. And the Ravens double up at edge rusher and take Mikhail Kamara. So they get Parker and Kamara, and they double up at edge. Mesidor, player Tony Mario wants in the first round, goes to the Buccaneers as an edge rusher at 46. The Colts get Malik Muhammad. They get another corner. Falcons get Keontae Scott. The Vikings get Tacario Davis. The Lions get Cage Casey as their replacement to Taylor Decker in the second round. Panthers get Red Murdoch. I am a big Red Murdoch fan. I showed William his tape a few weeks ago. He is one of my top middle linebackers in this entire draft. He's my fourth best middle linebacker in this entire draft. Packers get Brazel to replace Dobbs. Steelers get Conception in round 2. Jaden Roberts is an Eagle. He's going to replace Tyler Steen. Pregnan's going to go to the Chargers, and Brian Parker can move inside to center, and Pregnan can play left guard. Jags get Justin Jolly. The Bears, they get more cornerback depth. They replace the Nashawn Wright with Josh Motton. The Niners, they're not going to double up at tackle. They're not going to double up at tackle, okay? Auto draft.
And not with the guy that we saw Derek Moore knock on his ass.
And this guy, 6'9", 350 pounds. I know Otto
Derek Moore
because he was the highest rated player on the board. I don't think that's who they would pick in real life, though.
No, this is Max Clare right here, man. This is Max Clare. Number 58.
No, it is Skylar Bell. So Skylar Bell, Burden, and Ozune replace DJ Moore, and that's Caleb's new receiver trio. The Bears get Bo Stevens the Rams get Bo Stevens at left guard. The Broncos get Katron Allen. He's gonna compete with RJ Harvey for carries in Denver. Tim Keenan III, my number 3 nose tackle's a Patriot, and the Seahawks, they load up at corner and get Chandler Rivers, and that's what round 2 brings us. And then round 3 will auto pick Carson Beck is a Ram. Or Carson Beck's a Cardinal, not a Ram. Carson Beck is an Arizona Cardinal. Probably gets thrown into the fire by week 10 in that environment. Armand Adams. I do like that pick, though, for the Titans.
Having a safety valve like McBride, down there. Some other
Cassius Howell is a great fit for the Raiders. Pair him with Crosby potentially, and if not, he's a depth piece. Donnie Dennis Sutton gives the Eagles that true edge rusher. The Texans go Tanner Kozoil. They get the hometown Cougar in round 3. I actually really like that pick. Stover's entering year. Cade Stover was a 2023 pick, right? Or was he 2024?
Yep, 23.
Okay, so Stover's entering the final year of his rookie deal. You don't want to bring him back. So Kozoil's the perfect player to develop so you could reload.
6'7". This dude, ex-basketball player, former basketball player, whatever you want to say. But, I mean, he is the most productive tight end in this draft.
Yeah, Kozoil would actually be on a rookie deal with 4 years left, and Stover has 2 years left, but you could really maximize the trade value, or you can ease Kozoil in.
The only thing that I couldn't understand with Kozoil is he, playing for Ball State and then playing for Houston. It was kind of I was kind of wondering why he wasn't playing for a bigger school.
Yeah, fair enough.
That became
Browns finally get their wide receiver in round 3. They get Chris Bell. Caden McDonald's a Commander. Davison Igbenigzo's a Bengal.
Chris Bell is one of those guys. I think it's either kind of a love or hate thing. People either like him or they don't. And there's not a whole lot in between.
And the Chiefs get Aaron Graves for depth behind Tonga and Chris Jones. The Dolphins get Ahmad Moses. I love Ahmad Moses. He's one of my favorite free safeties in this draft that nobody's talking about. Spinal fusion surgery, but 54 solo tackles, 50 assisted tackles, 104 total tackles. I took him in the 7-round group mock, the X-Mock, last week. Guy nobody is talking about right now because of his medicals, but third-round tape. The only player in the country to intercept Carson Beck, Williams QB1 twice this season. Only player to do that. So Aiden Fisher is a Steeler. They get a third edge rusher. The Buccaneers get Blake Miller for depth behind Godecki. The Colts get Eric McAllister. I really like McAllister. Over 1,000 yards at TCU this season. Falcons double up at corner. They get Abney. The Ravens get Fibechi Nweyu, the Oklahoma right guard, to push Emory Jones for the right guard job now that Falele is a free agent. The Jaguars, they take Xavier Alford. C. Bangura, one of the best running backs in the country at Ohio, my 5th best running back in the draft. I was able to get him in round 7 of the mock. Traden Stukes, this is a guy Tony Mario's high on. He has him going to Tampa in the 4th round, but he has 3rd-round tape. I don't think he's going to get to round 4. Packers get Gabe Jacas as a outside linebacker to replace Quay Walker. Steelers get Braun at left guard in round 3. Grayson Halton's a Charger. J.C. Davis goes to the Dolphins as a left tackle for depth behind Patrick Paul. The Jags, they get R. Mason Thomas. They've already paid Trayvon Walker and Josh Hines-Allen, so he would be a depth player to start out. Jalen Catan replaces Byard at free safety. They also need a strong safety replacement too. The Dolphins get Jack Kelly, BYU player. I have him in the 3rd round. He'd be an edge rusher. The Bills get Landon Robinson. My QB4 is actually Joey Aguilar. Aguilar has a better deep ball than Ty Simpson, okay? And yes, I do have Simpson at 93 on the simulator. The Rams is the only place I see Ty Simpson going and having any success. If he goes to the Rams, I think he can succeed under Stafford. But if he goes anywhere else, he's going to be an absolute disaster for the team that drafts him.
The Rams would be a good place for Carson Beck to go. That's for sure.
Yeah, if Ty Simpson goes to the Rams, I think he can succeed there. If he goes anywhere else, it's going to be a disaster of epic proportions.
Yeah.
Dolphins get Lee Hunter. They get another defensive tackle. The Patriots double up at receiver. They know because the Patriots got Derek Moore in the 1st round. Then they got Keenan in round 2. So in this, they get Malachi Fields in round 3. The Seahawks get Kyle Lewis, who I mocked to Seattle at 9 in my preseason mock. Vikings, Caleb Banks. Eagles, they're going to get Romello Height. They're going to get that 2nd edge rusher. And then the Steelers, the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to get Max Clare at 99 with Freiermuth, Darnell Washington in the final year of his rookie deal, with Max Clare starting year 1 at 3rd string with Jonnu Smith gone. But he'll probably replace Darnell Washington as tight end 2 in 2027.
This guy he's so underrated. I mean, the way he can get open under zone, he's like a damn ghost.
Yeah, but it's like at this point, if you're the Steelers and you get Max Clare, you've got 1 year of Darnell Washington left. You can either trade Washington to a team that wants him as a tight end 2, or you can ease Clare in and keep him as the de facto tight end 3. It's a great problem to have.
Yeah, it is.
The Jags, they get Corleone with that comp pick, and then Bryce Botcher becomes the top player in round 4 when the Titans pick. And I know this says round 1, but it will not change rounds. The simulator will not change rounds. That's one of the problems we've had. So it's going to say round 1 for every pick, even though this is the start of round 4. I don't know how to.
Bryce Botcher, though, this is a guy, I've seen and I've talked about a lot with the Niners since we've, been meeting with them and had some interest in him and all. He's a very solid middle linebacker, and he is textbook tackler. He does everything right. Two-sport athlete. He played baseball as well, and I love the kid. I think he's one of the best middle linebackers in this draft. But however, the position value isn't so much there. Especially with some of the others that are available there or, perceived to be available there. But Bryce Botcher is definitely a guy, he's definitely a Dan Lanning guy, and that definitely makes for a tough player and tough prospect. Like I said, I like him, and I liked him to go, to go to the Niners there with one of our 4th or 4th round picks. I figured that would be about right, and give Warner a backup for future. If something else happens, maybe play some different schemes, different things. I don't know, but I just had to mention that. So I do like Bryce.
Yep. And it does sound like Miko Rantanen will be back from his injury today against the Penguins. This is just breaking news. Dallas Stars right winger Miko Rantanen, who got injured in the Olympics, it sounds like he's going to be back today. From early reports, it sounds like he's playing. But what's interesting is the Stars practiced at the Mario Lemieux Sports Complex, where I went to see the USHL Classic last year. And the great thing about the USHL Classic, it is the only place in the country where you can watch hockey players for the upcoming NFL draft. And they have a cafeteria. They've got a cafeteria. So if you prefer football, you can scout the hockey players, but you can also just sit in the cafeteria and watch the college football games they have on the air. You can. That's what they did last year. Miko Rantanen was activated from injured reserve Saturday per the NHL media site. So with Miko Rantanen activated, him removed from IR, that's a very clear indicator that on the other hand, Malkin and Crosby are both game time decisions. They might be out for the Penguins, but the Stars are getting Miko Rantanen back today. So I'm very happy about that. What else do we have until I'm guessing Joey left the podcast, or is he still here? Because I don't see Joey. Yeah. Oh, he's here. He's just hold on.
He's hiding.
We're not going to YouTube. Joey is here, or is he not here? So you saw everything. He's here. He just had his camera off. So he's here. Joey's been here the whole time. It's just camera. He had it turned off. But yeah, we simulated the top 100 picks. We can keep going, or we can stop, or we could do whatever. But I pretty much ran out of news to discuss for today, unless oh, that's why it's on the demo screen instead of the welcome. That's why. But yeah, you got anything you want to say, Joey, before we sign off? Because there's really not a lot of news today. It's been a very quiet Saturday. And don't worry, the news is going to heat up. I mean, in 2 weeks, we're going to have the WNBA draft simulator. We're going to have the Final Four for college basketball next week.
The only thing I want to say is I want people to remember that unless somebody's really stupid, like the Browns taking Dylan Gabriel last year, top 100 picks are drafted to be starters.
Yes.
So whenever you see a top 100 pick on your team, just say, this guy was drafted to be my starting, whatever it is. So just remember that.
Yeah, just a basic rule of thumb there. And it's true, unless but we'll see what happens, because the 7-round group mock begins on Monday. So we'll have updates for that next week. We'll have the Final Four updates as well. Trades that go through, and each owner gets one trade in the 7-round mock. We didn't have any trades in the 3-round mock. We will probably have some more trades in the 7-round mock. That begins on Monday. Yeah. And I'm just happy Miko Rantanen's back. And I'm so happy. It's like, I'm not even upset that we ended the show early. I'm kind of glad, because we really didn't have a lot of talking points. today, and I'm just happy we were able to end this before noon, because I figured we'd go through a few of the short topics. We went through some NHL news. We went through some NBA news at the beginning, all that before Joey showed up. So we got all that out of the way.
Yeah, the only thing I've really heard this week is all these teams with the new coaches, all 10 of them, all the media is bitching about them not having news and are digging up things from the previous season because they have no relationship with the new coaches. And that is the news I have heard this week is media bitching. So there you go.
Gavin McKenna finished the season with 15 goals, 36 assists, 51 points at Penn State. Penn State got eliminated from college hockey last night. That was a update that Brian Luis posted in SSAW this morning. I think McKenna's going to go number one, but there's only two teams eliminated from playoff contention in the NHL, the New York Rangers and the Vancouver Canucks. The Rangers, only reason they're terrible this year is because their best defender, Adam Fox, and their top five goalie, not Ilya Sorokin, he's on the Islanders, Igor Shesterkin, they're both injured. They're both dealing with injuries. When your best defender and best goalie are dealing with injuries, you're going to suck. It would be the equivalent of the Browns not having Denzel Ward and Myles Garrett, and they're both out for the season, okay? That's basically what the Rangers are dealing with. So, yeah.
And he only flipped that car going 120 miles an hour.
Your defense is going to take a hit if you lose those two, period.
Yeah, but did one of them flip their car going 120 miles an hour?
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to bring in the Myles Garrett comparison, you got to go 9 speeding tickets and a couple flip Ferraris, okay?
Well, hey,
we got to hit that one.
In my Niners defense, man, we lost Bosa and Warner early last year, week 1 last year.
Well, the Niners have Kyle Shanahan. The New York Rangers have Mike Sullivan, a coach who won 2 Stanley Cups with the Penguins, but has been dog shit ever since then. Yeah, I know he coached Team USA in the Winter Olympics. I'm aware of that, but
our season wasn't officially over until George Kittle
won
went
a Stanley Cup, and then he won a Stanley Cup in his first season as a head coach. That was Mike Sullivan's peak, to be fair. He has 2 more championships than Kyle Shanahan, but I think Kyle Shanahan's a better overall coach and a more consistent coach.
And our shit, I forgot what I was gonna say. Damn it, Chris.
To be fair, Chris Drury has been terrible at general manager the last 2 or 3 years.
Our season wasn't officially over until George Kittle went down, and he actually went down 2 weeks before the Achilles when he tore 2 other ligaments, which is why we're drafting a tight end this year. Sadiq. Hopefully player. But
we'll see what happens. I think it's going to be a very interesting draft for sure.
Yeah. I love it.
It's going to be an interesting draft.
I'm excited for this one.
2027 drafts are better than 2026. I'm not going to get into full details here, but I think the 2027 NFL draft's got a chance to be better than this one. I think the 2027 NHL draft's got a chance to be better than this one. Only reason I'm saying that is because Joseph has killed it.
William, I thought got shivved by a random Packers player. So, I mean, we're good.
Yeah. But Alexis Joseph has killed it this year. He's 6'5", 205 pounds, 20 goals, 35 assists as a rookie. I don't think DuPont's going to catch him. I know DuPont got a lot of hype and was initially the favorite to go first in 2027, but Alexis Joseph, 6'5", 205, and Landon DuPont's only 5'10". He's small for a defender. I mean, Schaefer was at least 6'1" when he entered the OHL, and he got up to 6'3" by the time he was in the NHL. But Landon DuPont's only 5'10", and you got a center that's 6'5", getting 20 goals, 20 assists, 30 assists. I think the center is going to get picked ahead of DuPont. That's just based on what I've seen. And this next year's draft's very forward heavy, while this draft's a very defender heavy draft. So the teams that need defense benefit from this draft. The teams that need wingers benefit in 2026. But if you need a center You need top line forwards, top line centers, top line wingers. Next year's draft's going to be very good for you. And I think there's a little bit more depth in the first 2 rounds of next year's draft than this one. So I like the 27 NFL, NHL, and WNBA drafts better than their 26 counterparts. MLS draft's probably going to be in the summer of 2027 because they're having the MLS Cup on December 18th, which is usually the day they have the MLS draft a year early, but they're moving the MLS schedule to summer to fall. So MLS will start in late July and then it will end in April or May instead of starting in February and ending in October. So and then ending in December. So they're changing the schedule up. So that leads me to believe the MLS draft will probably be in June of 2027. And that means you're going to have to pay attention to college soccer players, not just in the fall, but in the spring as well. And I'm wondering if college soccer, because some college soccer teams have a spring schedule as well as a fall schedule. And teams that don't, they send their players to USL2, a professional league, to play in the spring. So you're going to have to pay, if they move the super draft from the winter to the spring or the summer to where it's in June, because I think that's ultimately what's going to happen. MLS is going to replace the MLB draft as that third draft in June. And then we'll get NFL in April, but then you'll get MLS, NBA, NHL, MLB all in June and July. And that gives us a lot more time to watch film of college players for football. Because if they move the MLS draft from December to June, that gives us a lot more time to scout football players for the 24/7 cycle to the point where we're on par with the rest of the media instead of forming our own opinions, playing catch up as the process unfolds. But yeah, next week we will have the Final Four. We're going to have the Final Four next week. We're going to have some group mock updates, and we'll get to some players in the NHL draft. We watched 2 players, Stenberg and McKenna. We both think McKenna's better. So we'll try to get to Keaton Verahoff and Caleb Malhorda, the top center and the top defender, in next week's show. We'll try to get to those players. And because I want to watch at least one player at each position, and then we'll go down the board. But we've watched the top 2 wingers, the 2 favorites to go first. Joey's back. Okay, Joey, what do you got before we sign off?
I don't have that much. As I said, it's like next week we're going to have more pro days going out, more everything that's going on. We'll have a 7-round group mock. We'll have the Final Four, and we'll have game film for the NHL draft because we watched Stenberg and McKenna today before you called in. So, yeah. And I'll try to get more film. It just depends. If Joey's not on the call and we need something to kill time until he's able to get on the call, NHL draft film's the perfect time killer. I mean, it really is. And I will contact Cuddle and see if we can get something like that for the NFL draft where
For sure.
I don't know if they have something like that, but I'm going to contact them and inquire and see if we can get something like that for Draft Utopia. All right. It's almost noon. I'm ready to relax and enjoy my weekend. I know William and Joey are ready to do the same. And I'm just happy we got out of here before noon. It's not going to be like this when I'm back at the apartment next Saturday. I don't think so with all the news that's going to be happening. I'd like it to be, but I just know it's not because it's April. We're already at that point of the year. So that's Joseph Potter, William Yannish, Under the Bleachers. That'll be Wednesday night when I'm back at the apartment. I'm Chris Ransom. We're signing off. Enjoy your Saturday from the Utopia.